Salve angmashwa, salvete judices. This is my submission to the Cursed Conlang Circus. You will note that this slide does not mention the name of the language. This is on purpose. I'd like to make a game out of this, you see. Here are some of the characteristics and features of the language. We have some rather cool standouts, like probably agglutination, a word about rocks, but the important one is it's an a priori. So, the game is quite simple. I want you to guess what language this comes from. So, basic outline of the presentation. We have phonetics and phonology, followed by grammar, lexicon, and the logographic writing system. Between each of these, I will pause for you to make a guess. The answer will be revealed concurrently with the final section. I'll have 3 examples, and then I will tell you. That's how it's going to go. Anyways, now that that's out of the way, institutuamus. Here's our inventory with nasals. Couple things to note. 3-way stop distinction. Could have been 4. Can't do voiced aspirated stops, so it's only going to be 3. Lots of vowels. We've got nasal, long, rounded, whole 9 yards. Most of those are probably allophones of one another. But, I just want you to see the scope of what kind of vowels you're going to be looking at. I already mentioned that. Anyways, grammar time. Sorry, I forgot to pause. That's on me. Anyways, nouns end in eh. Adjectives end in ah. You pluralize. Basically everything you do with this language is prefixes or infixes. Basically, you pluralize using that. I'm going to save all of the nonsense for later when I read the translation poorly. We have 3 cases: subjective, objective, genitive. Genitive is far too complicated to talk about until after the veil is lifted. We'll get there. We've got verbs next. They're not fun. They're marked for tense, mood, voice, and person. It can technically go up to anything, but I stopped at 4th. You see what's there. We have the fun little just infinitive, future perfect. You have a past, present progressive, present perfect, future imperfect, all those prefixes. We have a habitual mood, an imperative, an indicative, an optative or usive, a subjunctive, an interrogative, and of course, the 3 passive voices: passive, middle passive, and anti-passive. Ultimately, this is why I went with a subjective case and an objective case, just to make my life a little easier. Word order changes depending on the voice. Now, the person is the easiest one. Basically, in all of these prefixes, you might notice there's a prefix. Tons of fun. Basically, you take that and you slap it between the root and the ending in the main word bit. The bit that carries the meaning to it. That differentiates the snake from fire. I have a bunch of prefixes. You already know how this works. Anyways, you thought we were done, ignoring the last slide? That's a lot of prefixes. Well, how do we know how the prefix order goes. Well, there you go. It's nice and easy. There is a mistake on the last one that I didn't get around to fixing, I guess. It should be ill as the rest are. And then if you have more than one main prefix root, you slap all the prefixes in that there order before the main prefix root. You get the idea on how that works. Now, onto the lexicon. I forgot to break again. Oh well. Anyways, nouns, verbs, adjectives. These are all denoted by the ending. It's a very simple equation. You've got a root, you've got an ending, and then you have prefixes, infixes in there, all that fun stuff. Anyways, you add all that, and you get your definite meaning. Few irregularities. We'll run into like one, I think. A verb becomes such that it looks like an adjective. Fun stuff. Anyways, simplest word, morphologically, insofar as it's a nice, simple word. It is also it's nice and simple insofar as it is to say. I should point out, because it is incredibly complex and vague in meaning. Basically, it's just an auxiliary word. It can be a demonstrative pronoun. Never used it that way. It's a definite article with nouns, hence why I made it a demonstrative pronoun. And then with verbs, it's used as a replacement marker when they run out of space. Anyways, next slides, you'll see the roots, not necessarily the derivations thereof. So here's the first 18, including the rock word, which is about halfway down the right column. Do what you will with that. Here's the other 5. That, by the way, is the entire lexicon. I do have an Excel sheet with all of this again, but slightly differently. You'll see what I mean after the veil is lifted. Anyways, speaking of, we pause. We flip the page. Onto the logography. Better get your guesses in. To start, that word I was talking about. Orthographically, it's a letter C. Now, on to the next one. There's that word, which means fire. And then finally, you got this one. Now, you might start to see what's going on here, don't you? The next and 15th slide, we will finally lift the veil and reveal the name of the language. Jourdain, otherwise known in English as butane or IUPAC-Ease. So, now you might be thinking, you did all of this with chemicals? And the answer is yes. So, IUPAC basics. IUPAC is an organization that names chemical compounds. This language takes inspiration from alkanes, alkenes, and alkynes. Alkanes are the ones with single bonds, alkenes are the one with double bonds, and the alkynes are the ones with triple bonds. Anyways, how you may see it in this language. Basically, the way that this works is you have different substituents that are attached to the carbon chain, and those carry the minute grammatical details. For example, with the plural prefix, which is that again, basically I made that by taking a hydroxyl group and sticking it on the second position. otherwise known as 2-hydroxyl. Now, you kind of see where most of the sound change nonsense came from. And if you didn't, there's also sizg. Yep. The genitive is incredibly wacko. Basically, the idea is you take the possessee word and you stick it onto the possessor word and you stick it onto the possessee word at the first position, which creates a longer chain. So, at this point, we get some fun things, like long words that I don't know how to derive. Anyways, when I was talking about how methane is used as an auxiliary word with verbs, how it basically flags saying, hey, this word, not enough room to say what it needs to. That's because of the octet rule, and you can't have too many things sticking out of it. On the cutting room floor is surprise agglutination within sentences such that words would react with each other, but I did not have the time nor the desire to do that after just having simple verbs written. Anyways, translation. In place of a gloss, you'll see the exact broken English translation as literally as I can do it. In retrospect, I probably should have made the indirect statements a little bit easier for me by making them more like Latin, but I forgot. Anyways, let's see if I can fit all this real fast. Ahem. Kethil för ethil zer blobil duzer för dari mathin ududa dars gildejde ne ududa dars gilad da. That's a fun vowel, let me tell you. Tuzerda filva dars gil fur athil ebduzer vadari agdu fural o dars gil esge. English. Fura lududa dars gilagde mathin tefilva dars gil zer blobil agduduzer dari esgadejde pedadejde mathin va darjgil zer blobil dodejdu zerva fural o darjgil esgen a darjgilagda fural dos dars gilesgen te dars gilagde da va dars gilebda terthil dars gilfur ila. I'm running out of time, so I am going to start this slide over from the top on a new video.